Refugee I became in my own lane. Husband I lost, brothers I lost, sisters I lost, children I lost, my sanity I lost. No house I had, no clothes I had, no family I had, no comfort I had. A wanderer I became. Freedom I pray, freedom I desire, freedom I thirst, freedom I need, independence I want.
Standing on a motherland, fighting for a country. We fight for a free.
It has been 19 years on 30th of August 2020 since the signing of the Bougainville Peace Agreement in 2009. It was this single joint document between the government of Papua New Guinea and Bougainville that not only ended a decade-long war, but paved the way forward to realize Bougainville's plight for a referendum that would bear its current political status. Recently, Bougainvillians in Madang took to the polls voting for their members who will represent their constituency and their province. Mr. Makalai Bell, NBC Radio Madang chief reporter and station manager, gave his report on the voting turnout and also what he thinks as a journalist about Bougainville's post-crisis years.
About 300 plus, 350 exactly, people turned up, or eligible voters from autonomous region of Bougainville. People from Bougainville working in Madang or living in Madang turned up. However, the number that turned up for the referendum was 1,500. So the elections itself, the autonomous region, regional autonomous region of Bougainville government elections, 350 is not really a good figure of the referendum turnout. So those who turned up were asked why not many are there, and they said we don't know. So perhaps the election officials probably know why the turnout was not as the referendum figures. Political development in Papua New Guinea is only 45 years when we gained independence, and the issues of governance, economy and everything else is really impinging on the minds of many of our elected leaders now, and this is the first time that a modern nation of Papua New Guinea is allowing for a process where a group of people are trying to gain independence, or they've already got their autonomy. They're autonomous basically in many areas of life and economy and all that, but independence is more than the autonomy that people of Bougainville enjoy now. So many other provinces are really waiting on their elected leaders to decide for them. And the common voice among the people is that some leaders are not really well versed with that kind of question, that will independence for one part of Papua New Guinea be also accepted by others or be rejected by others. So it's a very long process and a very complicated issue that is going to be decided by our leaders in the next process onwards.
Francis Irara, a long-time resident of Madang and a senior officer with the Madang Lands Department, comments on Bougainville's governance.
And as other provinces are competing for autonomy, the Bougainville is way ahead, as I see. It's way ahead, and it all depends on our leaders. currently there's an election been going on. I think some areas have been declared already. So that election is very, very important at this time. So what the leaders will make on decision on the independence and autonomy and economy, it's very much very, very important at this time. But the prospect for Bougainville to be independent, I think there's a good chance, because even previously in good governance, Bougainville was the first provincial command which gained provincial command status, and they did succeed, and they did operate very, very well, and they did manage very well. So it's one of the things that we are pushing for independence, and it's very deeply rooted. The results were overwhelmingly supporting independence. It's about 98.31% they're going for independence. Even myself too, I did vote for independence. And I think most of the Bougainvilleans, according to my assessment, this topic of independence is deeply rooted. Even when I'm out of Bougainville, I continue to contact with my people. So that's why sometimes it's a bit emotional, especially you see, I was in the crisis, during the crisis. The life is very hard, very, very hard, very hard. And it was during the blockade that some of us did survive. There were no services going there, and something like this. And so we did survive that struggle, and yeah, we are saying that yes, independence is for us.
Dr. Tabion Ambang, the head of the Health Management Department at Divinewood University, stated that Bougainville once had one of the most outstanding provincial government system in Papua New Guinea.
They proved that provincial government system work. So in the context of governance system, they are very good. Also, provincial administration, Bougainville, they have demonstrated that they have good leadership, and they can able to set up good government system. I mean, throughout the history, we know that. So that's one of the things I believe they have the capacity and capability to be self-governed, and they will have a good leadership there.
In order for a country or province to sustain itself, it has to have a steady economy. As the dawn of the new era for Bougainville arrives, there are other means of economical gains that can help sustain the newly autonomous region. Bougainville is richly endowed with mineral resources such as gold, copper, and silver. The island was once the host of the largest copper mine in the world. The Puguna mine operated in 1972 to 1989. However, it has been the primary cause of the Bougainville crisis, and there are debates on whether to reopen the mine or not. Anthony Sinuku, a third-year social religious student, believes that government should discuss the reopening of the mine with Bougainvillians.
PCL, I mean the Rio Tinto, the owner of the company, to come and reopen the mine again, but it's, this, as you have mentioned, that it's the Panguna mine is the cause of the problem or the conflict, Bougainville conflict. That's why it's very difficult to reopen it. And so, the whole Bougainville went through the difficulties they face, the difficulties during the conflict. So, it's very hard for the government itself or for the leaders themselves to come up with a decision to reopen the mine. So what they have to do, they have to consult the whole Bougainvilleans, get the idea, get the opinions, get the views of for reopening the mine. Because if they want to reopen the mine, there are people who have suffered in the war, so they will have a lot of opinions to make. So with that, but recently, with the permission of the government, our president Ismail Torama have mentioned something like the reopening of the mining. They should, but they should be. It's in the like they put it into consideration, but it doesn't mean that they will going to reopen the mine. It's in the consideration. So again, the other minister, education minister, one of the ABC representatives, she addressed that. I think she addressed that. She think that right now it's not in the good position for the Bougainville government or the PNC government to reopen the mine. Later in the future, if the government make the compensation to the damage that has been done during the war, during the conflict, the compensation means the properties and the lives that were lost. So unless all this settled, then they can consider reopening the mine again.
Dr. Ambang believes that tourism is also an important alternative that
is tourism. I strongly believe that Bougainville is unique in terms of culture. If you look at Bougainville, because of the color scheme and the culture is so unique in the world, and they can have huge potential in tourism, and they can really invest into that too. Yep.
Others have echoed other potential alternatives that Bougainville can consider.
Like fisheries, they are also talking about they can invest on fisheries and other things like tourism, and at the same time the agriculture. The agriculture is in Papua New Guinea. In terms of producing the cocoa, the Bougainville, I think is producing the highest production in Papua New Guinea. So what the farmers and the leaders, they leaders and some of the educated elites who have the knowledge of how to develop the cocoa production, the marketing, the exporting. So they are working on it. So right now, I think the best alternative that Bougainville can look into is the agriculture, and then the tourism can come in again. The best thing is the agriculture because
the overwhelming results of the referendum reflects people who demand political and economic freedom. Though the ratification process might take years and the future is uncertain, there is a sense of optimism for many Bougainvilleans and its future.